A podcast? Did your radio show get canceled?
Fire. Low down and filthy, but the discipline is on point. Schooled myself, made my own dojo. A cold flow with the whole dose of soul. Maintain composure, even in fury. An anomaly, properties undiscernible to mere peasants. Use weapons that level entire areas.
It's a new year. Everyone said how awful 2016 was. Whether you agree or disagree, doesn't matter. It's a new year now. Nothing you can do about it. What do you want to do in 2017, especially if you want to do things differently, and how do you do it? That's what we're talking this week on the $1 Million Plan. Special guest co-host, Marc Williams, Mr. Kinetik, in studio. Hello, Marc.
What's up, man?
I always want to call you Mr. K. Do people call you Mr. K?
I call myself Mr. K.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
The third person style?
I
You're
do.
at home with dinner. Mr. K would like some ice cream. You say it like that, but probably not in that voice.
No, not in my house.
Yeah, I think going third person to the wifey is a bad idea.
That's a terrible idea.
Pete the Planner would like some more salad dressing. And then just look at Anyway, Marc Williams is a friend, a musician, an educator, and he does all the podcast music. If you catch our this show on the podcast or if you catch it on the radio, I don't know how you catch it. You should catch it all the ways. So he joins me because we're just talking about fresh starts. Marc, I'm not a huge fan of New Year's resolutions. I find them to be just arbitrary timing-wise, completely arbitrary.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like, well, it's a new year. It's a good time to say that I'm going to do something, I guess, new or different.
Yeah, the calendar is in itself, I mean, it's practical given the resolutions or revolutions around the, you know what I'm talking about? What is it?
Do you know what it goes around?
Revolutions, there's a sun involved, there's a star. Anyway, so it does match up with that, but saying, oh, well, it's a new year. Well, why not a new week or a new day or a new month or a new quarter?
Hour?
Yeah,
like,
I just never understood that.
I don't know. I'd love to know like the tradition behind it. There has to be some explanation for it, but I don't know what it is.
That being said, like everyone else, I've had them too. Like last year, I had one that I'm not going to talk about that lasted 22 days. 21 days, maybe. I don't remember.
Was it the 21-day fix? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I was fixed. I was fine. I was good. No, 21 days. I was just like, that didn't work. Have you ever like said, all right, here's the year. It's the year now.
I think usually mine revolve around music. It's usually like I'm going to put more stuff out.
Oh, interesting.
Like
so not, okay,
Yeah.
so easy here. Not abstaining from something, but instead supplementing your life with something else.
Yeah.
You know, this is how dumb I am, Marc. You know this. You've known me for a while. I didn't even think of it that way. It's almost like Lent, though. I think of New Year's resolution like people think of Lent. Like, I'm not going to eat candy for 40 days, and God will care about that.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, that's what God needs right now is you to stop eating Swedish fish for 40 days. Like, that's, nailed it. Why don't you pray for your very favorite sports team to win, too? Because that's good.
He cares about that.
He cares about that. It's like, dear God, let's hope my team wins today.
He's absolutely. There's a sports hotline.
And as a trade-off, I will not eat Swedish fish for 40 days. I always love that. So you want to, okay, I like this. So this is a good place to start. And we're going to get deeper into the details of making financial changes here in the next segment. But theoretically, what you're saying is to add something as opposed to take something away.
Absolutely.
Okay, so yeah, let's go into this. So you would say, I'm going to, how do you view that then? I'm going to start a new album on January 1st. I'm going to start writing music. What's that look like for you?
They have always been like benchmark goals for me. So like by such and such date, I will have whatever done. And then by this date, I'll have this done.
Do you work backwards?
Yeah, I look at the whole year and I'm like, okay, where do I want to be by, I don't know, April 1st? And then where do I want to be by September 1st? And then where do I want to be by November 1st? Something like that.
So would the December 31st goal be like, have an album release?
Right.
And then, but you know, by January 31st, in order to have an album released some 11 months later, you will need...
You got to have certain stuff done.
You know, I will tell you this, speaking of music, my daughter got a keyboard this holiday season from Santa Claus. And I make fresh, fat beats on it.
I don't believe that at all.
I do. I put it on the percussion setting. It's got a little clap, a little...
Oh, man. I bet
it's so good. Boom.
I can hear it in my head.
Oh, it's so like... middle school pound on the lunch table, like 1991. It's oh man, I remember in 7th grade, it was the height of Vanilla Ice. I think it was 7th grade,
Wow.
6th or 7th grade, and so you'd have people like hit the beats out on the table, and then people just doing Vanilla Ice style moves, and I was all over it. Everyone was. So let's not. I mean, you're younger than I am, but
I remember that though. I do. I remember Ninja Rap more than anything, but I remember that. Yeah, man.
So anyway, so in order to get a song done or an album done by December 31st, by January 31st, you've got to have beats, you get right lyrics. What do you?
I mean, it depends on how like what kind of album it is, but there are definitely things, if that's what you want to do, you got to have something done. You can't just, it doesn't come together by itself. So
since we're talking about creativity, when I need inspiration for creativity, because I am a creative by the nature of what I do, I have to either go somewhere to eat in which the chef has an actual point of view and that is going to do something artistic, or I need to go look at good art. Like, those things make me want to create. I also like music, but those two things make me want to create. Is there something that makes you want to create?
Man, I like to watch things. So I usually will watch movies or documentaries, something like that. Just
okay, so documentaries get to mind.
Stuff like
Going through.
yeah. And lately reading books, which is weird, but I didn't really like reading a whole lot.
You're a reader?
Yeah, and now anyway.
We should mention you also are a podcast host.
Yeah.
Can we mention that or not?
Yeah, I mean it's fine. Yeah.
I mentioned it on this show a couple of weeks ago. I've been listening to it.
I'm behind on episodes.
That's the nature of a podcast.
I know.
It's all right.
Apparently.
Don't worry about getting behind on episodes. That's my speciality. I like it. You know, you're finding your voice in it.
Yeah.
Trying stuff. And that's the thing. You can't be afraid. You just jump in and go.
That's kind of, yeah. That's my only advice for anybody that's listening and thinking about it. You just got to do it.
You're not paralyzed by overanalysis. What is it? Paralysis by overanalysis or whatever. Yeah. And I think that's a sort of a good connection to what we're talking about now is how do you set specific goals for 2017? And again, since it's a financial show, financially speaking. Right. So I know where a lot of people want to get better in 3 major areas of their financial life. Number 1, they want to have less debt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 2, they want to have more money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And number 3, and this is a weird one, they want to have more control without a budget. And that's where we should start, right? They want to have more self-control, more confidence in what they're doing, but they aren't willing to budget to get that accomplished.
Okay.
But
that seems interesting how you would get there, but yeah.
Well, that's the point, right? It's like, look, I want to get physically fit, but I'm not giving up cheeseburgers. Like that's the and by the way, I do want to get physically fit, and I do not want to give up cheeseburgers.
Same boat, man.
They're so delicious.
They are fantastic.
If I had time today, we would leave the studio and we would go to Fat Dan's on College, and we would put copious amounts of Fat Havana right in my face.
Oh, you're okay.
Where do you go? What's your direction?
Man, it changes every time. But I always get wings to go though. Always. If you don't do that, you're playing
move.
Yourself if you don't do that.
That's a pro move.
You just get them to go.
I took the kids to Long's. Yes. So apple fries are the...
I'm not even hip to that.
It's the move.
Okay.
Right? So it's like a...
How do you order it though? Because I need to know before I get there. Because you don't do that in line.
No, you just go 2 apple fries.
Okay, all right.
And everyone's got to be real low key when they go through the line, except there's the Steve from Fisher's Roaster.
So I'm thinking, could you?
So Long's is this bakery that's been around for decades. And I remember my dad taking me there. I used to ball at Municipal Gardens.
Oh wow, yeah.
Ooh, man. And we would stop there, and I remember my dad just saying in line, and I don't know how he said it, but this is the vibe is like, everyone in this line is the same. Like it was like a lesson about life.
Oh yeah.
About a melting pot.
Yeah.
And let's just be blunt. It's a very culturally diverse line.
Oh yeah.
Let's put it there.
For sure. Yeah.
Right? Socioeconomically, racially.
Which is kind of weird considering where it is.
It is in Hallville.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you get people coming from all over to go to this place.
They do, literally.
And there's just a set of rules. Like when I was there the other day, this dude was asking questions, asking for gluten-free. Asking for gluten-free donuts at a bakery.
Why would you even want a gluten-free
factory?
But a gluten-free donut, what is that?
Well, sure, there's medical conditions. So
I get it, but what?
But
Eat something else.
But I would just say, yeah, right. Don't go to a bakery, which in fact manufactures gluten. Right?
Right.
Right. So it's like, I would like.
That's what they do.
Yeah, I would like non-explosive fireworks, and I'm going to go to the fireworks factory to do that. Anyway, so this guy starts to order this gluten-free donut that doesn't exist. And this dude next to me, right? He's like, I think I'm going to kill that guy. And I was like, you know what? I have your back.
Hey, man, it's longs, man. It's like that.
And my kids were right there, and then we got in the car, and Ted was like, why did that guy say he wanted to kill that guy? And I was like, because of rules,
Because,
Ted.
son, these are
Because
the
of
rules,
I mean,
man.
I wouldn't even batted an eyelash. How do we get the longs?
Talking about something.
All right, let's do this. Let's come back after the break. I'll regather myself. I get talking about, we were talking about fat Nan's.
That's
we got
right.
The longs.
That's right.
Now I'm hungry. So needless to say, a diet will not be on the horizon, or should it be?
No.
So how to accomplish financial goals in a new year when you have a fresh start? Like, how do you measure whether you're doing a good job or not? And I'll give you 4 easy steps to do that. Coming back, special guest, Mr. Kinetik, Marc Williams, guest co-hosting today. I'm Pete the Planner. This is the $1 Million Plan.
Stop what you're doing. And hit Pete up on Twitter at Pete the Planner.
Sound good to me. I never question the right of any man to voice his opinion as strongly as any can. But then again, many men are citizens of their own little world, so they ain't really fitting in. I'm in the background blending in, camouflaged by the scenery, but I'm a champion. Revamp the camp again, put down the stamp.
We're back on the Fresh Starts edition of the $1 Million Plan. My chair's a little creaky. I haven't sat in it. I took a couple of weeks off. Marc Williams co-hosting with me here today. Marc is an educator
That's right.
and a musician. Yeah. Well, the good part about being a teacher is the time off, right?
Yeah, it's not so bad.
And Mrs. Kinetik is also an educator.
That's right.
So you get the same time off together.
Close to the same time. But yeah.
Overlap.
Yeah, it's a little different now, but it's not bad.
How's the boy, by the way?
He's great, man.
I need pics when we're done here. I gotta
All right.
see what it looks like. All right, so 4 ways to start your year off on the right foot. Look, I think it's silly if you want to have a New Year's resolution and you want to decide to care now. But if that's the case, Marc, here are 4 good ways to stoke progress. So let's, number 1, start with a week. Okay, so too often people are like, 2017 is my year. Oh, okay, pal. How about January 1st through the next 7 days? How about that be the way to go? So start with a week. Like, don't stretch your time frame out so long. Like, so if we're trying to parallel changing your life financially with Marc, you starting a new album, 1 week in, what could you get accomplished in a week as a musician that would pay off?
In a week, maybe you need to write down a plan of like
The vibe of the album?
maybe just a big picture plan. So almost storyboard the whole album. So what are you trying to go for? And then if you get far enough in it, how do you want to make sure that it's like how do you want to put it out? Like what do you want to do for?
So you're not trying to name the album or
No, you're not
cover
trying to
art.
name the album.
We've
You
already
just-
got our cover art.
Yeah, just trying to get a feel for like why am I even considering doing this to begin with?
Do you have something to say specific? But how's the thing? So like for me, like if a particular song, and I know nothing about music other than I have some fresh beats that I put together on my daughter's keyboard. They're really good. And one's even got a whistle.
We need to ask her.
Blow the whistle. Just like, it's like, anyway. So if you have something to say, wouldn't you just say that in one song versus the whole album? Or is it like, that's where it gets over my
I mean, maybe you don't have as much to say as you think you do. So that's part of why you go through that plan.
I guess it's not, now that I'm thinking about it, it's not that different than writing a book.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't need to write a book or maybe you don't need to make an album to do it. But you won't know that unless you got to start with the week. That's why talking about a whole year is a bad idea.
So start with a week.
Yeah.
And here are 3 decent paths to take. First, how about looking at your debts? Like, so this is a good thing to do the first day of the year is to write down all of your debts. Like, Marc, people guess their debts. I'll say, what do you have in debt? And they'll say, $23,000 with student loans. But then we write it down, it's like $39,000. You know, people don't know.
I mean, I think it's just because I know numbers, but I know mine. Almost plus or minus $1,000. You give me 5 minutes, I can figure it out.
Your significant other is similar that way?
No, I think she probably would guess.
And that's okay, right? I mean, and everyone's different. I handle the finances in my house, and Mrs. Planner knows. Actually, I gave her an update the other day. I was like, this is what we owe in our house. So that's our debt, right? She's like, oh, wow, I didn't realize it was that low. And I was like, I know. By the end of, this is a real conversation. By the end of 17, honey, we will be below this number on that house. She's like, oh, that's great. And then Ollie was standing right there, my 7-year-old daughter, and she was like, when will it be paid off? And I was like, well, probably when you're in college. She was like, oh yeah, go figure. So a certain amount of debt. So write down all your debts and say, all right, by the end of this first 7 days, I'd like to take off another $130 of debt. Yeah. It's that easy. And you hear me say that, and you're like, well, how significant is that? Well, all you have to do is multiply by 52, and you see the difference.
There you go.
Right? If you pay an extra $60 towards your debt, and you do that 52 weeks a year, that's another $3,000 in debt that you got a debt.
Yeah.
So most debts are amortized, that they're meant to pay off over a certain period of time. Some debts are revolving. But if you escalate that by $60 a week, then you've escalated by $3,000, right?
Yeah.
Look at that. It's almost like, I know what I'm doing. The second thing you can do is savings, but it's the same principle, right? Paying down debt and saving money are the same damn thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's from a net worth perspective, which are your assets minus your debts equals your net worth. If you save money or you pay down your debt, it has the same effect on your net worth, right? So if you save $60 a week, Mark, it's the same as paying down debt at $60 a week because your net worth shifts by $3,120 over the course of a year. So but for some people say, well, where do I save money? Do I just keep it in my checking account? That's a terrible thing to do.
That's a terrible thing to do.
So you could either build an emergency fund with a savings account separate from your checking account, preferably. That's because we are weak, dumb animals, Mark.
Transfer, man.
Man, that transfer. Once
transfer
you open
money,
that transfer,
dog. Woo,
woo, woo. I need to loop that into my beats that I'm making on the keyboard. I'm gonna send you some fresh tracks.
Oh man,
it's so good.
I'll rap on one of them if it's.
Oh my gosh.
If it's, yeah, I would.
It is so good. Oh, I don't have my iPad here because I could do some of those beats.
Oh my gosh.
On a keyboard. You know, I'm so sorry. Another way you could save money though too is you could just like have a specific goal. Like people are like, I want to send my kid to college. Awesome, do something.
Yeah,
just put money in their account.
529.
I'd like to retire. Put something in your retirement account.
Yeah,
I never understand that. Like I don't get really caught up in. This will be interesting because I'm curious. I bet you have a different perspective on this.
Perhaps.
I don't get caught up in dreams a lot.
What do you mean?
It's always been my dream to. It just seems like you're not going to do anything if you have a dream. Maybe I'm being pigheaded or stupid, but I just think like it's always been my dream to retire at 50. Well, dream.
So then, what are you doing?
Do something.
Yeah.
Like I don't
have a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't. So you're with me?
Yeah, because I mean,
it's funny the things we disagree on are pretty good. I like them. We haven't found one today, but we'll find one.
Oh yeah, we probably will. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that because it's easy to talk about a dream without a plan. And then, well, I think like Herm Edwards, I saw him say one time, a dream without a plan is a wish or something like that.
That seems about right.
Yeah, like, or a goal without a plan is a wish. One of the two. I mean, you're about the same.
I think that was a Successories poster at Lafayette Square, like at a kiosk, you know, the square.
It's true, though.
I used to work at Camelot Music.
Oh, wow.
At Lafayette Square.
I forgot about Camelot.
And there was a pretzel stand. It was called Pretzel Time, right next to Camelot Music. And I used to flirt with one of the employees to get free pretzels.
Was that down by Sears? On that end of the mall, the food court?
Yes.
Okay.
I think. Oh, man, I have a terrible memory. But anyway, people used to take lighters. This is in the cassette tape days.
Okay.
And some CDs. People used to take
the big
lighters.
Giant ones, the big
plastic,
yeah, the big plastic case.
People would take lighters and burn the plastic security things off of them.
Yeah.
Remember Steve Entman, who was a Colts lineman back in the day? Do you remember this? He was a first round. There's Quentin Coriat and Steve Entman. This is when I'm the old guy. They were both first round draft picks. So Steve Entman's this big hulking dude, looks like Brock Lesnar.
All right.
And I think he played at Washington or something like that. So he came in one day to the store and bought like 50 laser discs. Right? And I was the clerk or the whatever, cashier, and he's like checking out, and I'm just like, this guy is so cool.
Were they movies or?
Yeah,
they...
well, yeah. I mean,
okay,
movies. Laserdisc, for those that don't know, were basically DVDs before DVDs, but they were the size of records.
Yeah.
But they were
supposedly
they
better
were
quality.
giant.
Yeah.
And I just remember he bought all these, and they were huge. And
Couldn't you like scan a barcode to get them like advanced or something like that? I forget. They had them in school.
Yeah, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. How do we get to these things? How do we get here? We're talking about donuts. We're talking about Steve Entman. Finally, the third thing you can try to do over the course of a week is to abstain from a habit, right? So let's say you go to lunch every day for work. Change that habit up. Don't spend that money. And by the way, not spending money is not the same as saving money. I saved $60 this week by not going to lunch. No, you didn't. You just didn't spend it.
So when I go to Kohl's and save $285,
Well, do you have Kohl's cash or what are we doing here? Kohl's cash, Kohl's bucks. What are those called?
so I'm not really saving money at Joseph A. Banks? Or is this not really?
Are they still around, Joseph A. Bank?
I don't know.
Is it Joseph A. Bank or Banks?
This is a great question.
Let's look it up. I think it's...
Is it Bernstein or Bernstein?
We've gone down that road. It's Bernstein.
The Mandela effect.
Joseph A. Bank. It's Bank. Joseph A. Bank.
How many shirts can we get if we buy one?
30. So that's the...
Why do you have so many tabs open?
Don't hate the tab game. I've got a lot on my plate, Mark. I'm sorry. So those are the three things over the course of a week. Pay down a debt, save money. By the way, you are listening to Mark Williams' last co-hosting opportunity here on the $1 Million Plan. And then finally, don't spend money. After the break, we're going to talk about the two primary measures to handle all of this. And you guessed it, it's going to be power percentage and net worth. Why even come back? So that's what it is coming back after the break. Mark, have you done your power percentage yet?
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, boy. Here
don't
we
even
go.
know.
I guess someone listens to someone's podcast and someone doesn't listen to someone else's
I got a lot on
podcast.
my plate.
Pete the Planner. This is the $1 Million Plan.
Yeah. Axe hand on the beat. Yes, sir. Glass House. Yes, sir. Mr. Kinetik, Rusty Redenbacher. ATFU. Naptown. Yeah. Peace to Fetty and Fredo. Helicopter choppers. Yeah, y'all ain't hip yet. Cashing in like the end of the game at the casino. I lean so the glare of the rear view don't hit me. Swiftly through the avenues and boulevards. Old soul playing on my speakers. Old soul but young in age, a boss player. Not from the Himalayas, but my fam gave me Gary, Indiana game. Grew up around the country, but the mindset was there. Ain't I won't complain about a damn thing on this beat. Axe hand got it slapping. Glass house, keep it funky. Word to the jams, drums clicking, clapping, grooving.
The Fresh Starts edition of the $1 Million Plan. I'm MC Fresh Start. With that, Mark Williams joins me in studio, my buddy. How would that be for like an MC name? MC Fresh Start.
That's terrible.
That's pretty good.
First, you have MC in front of it. Nobody does that anymore.
But what if I had fresh like PH?
That's even worse.
It's the Marsh Fresh Idea Card.
Oh, man.
MC Fresh Idea Card. Okay. So we're talking about fresh starts to your new year. I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, but who cares what I believe because people do them all the time. How do you measure progress? There are two ways. Mark, apparently I'm going to be teaching you about the power percentage today. And you're going to go home, you're going to calculate it, and you're going to text me later, and you're going to tell me your number, and I'm not going to share it with anybody. And then that's how this works.
This is like golf where we need a low number, or what are we doing?
You need a high number. So
Okay.
here's how it works. Take your household gross income.
Okay.
Okay, so gross, for those that get confused, before taxes, before anything's taken out, household. So if someone makes 50 grand and someone makes 40 grand, the household would be 90 grand would be the gross income, whatever, okay? That's the number. Then what you're going to do is you're going to calculate how efficient you are with that income. You get to add together all of the following items. You get to add together what you put away for retirement, what your employer puts away on your behalf for retirement. Same with your spouse.
Recurring or a total amount?
On a month, this we're calculating on a monthly basis. So
Okay.
once you get your gross annual income, just divide by 12 clearly to get your monthly income. And then you calculate what they put away each month for you, what you put away each month for you, what goes into 529 plans each month for you, what goes into savings each month for you, what you pay towards student loans gets added in.
Oh, okay.
What you pay off on your mortgage principal, not your whole mortgage,
Okay.
but the part that pays back principal, you get to add that in. You get to add in any other debt reduction other than a car.
Mm-hmm.
No transportation here on this one. But any other debt reduction that you currently aren't using that credit line, meaning you can't put $300 on your credit card, Mark, and then pay it off at the end of each month and count that $300 towards your power percentage. It can only be balance reduction, not a cash flow move where you accumulate a debt and pay it off. Does that make sense?
So would you put your payments to your credit cards on there?
As long as you're not using that credit card. So
As
you
long
can
as
only
you're not
put
using it, okay.
you can only put in excess of what you put on that month of a new balance.
Okay.
So if you have a $1,000 balance, you put $400 on the card that month, and let's say you make a $300 payment, you can't include it in power percentage because you
Right.
actually went backwards.
Right.
But if you put $400 on the card that month, you make a $600 payment, then you can include the
$200,
payment.
right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so you add all those numbers up. What you've put towards debts, what you've put towards savings, investing. And as we said earlier in the show, when you pay down debt or save money, same thing,
Yep.
right? So this takes advantage of it. So you add all those numbers up, add them all up, and then divide by your gross monthly income.
Oh, okay.
Okay? And it gives you your power percentage.
Okay.
So we came up with this, and by we, I mean me. I came up with this last year. I can say that because it's
While you were eating
2017 now.
a delicious meal, or
Yeah, shallots. We got to talk meals. We'll do that in the last segment. So power percentage, again, measures how efficient you are with your income. So here's the scale, because you're going to want to remember the scale.
okay.
We can always go to episode 120 of the $1 Million Plan podcast, which describes this in its entirety.
Okay.
The scale is, if you're below 10%, you're in trouble. But here's what people hear that like, oh no, I'm in trouble. No, you're not, because unless you're not paying on your debts, you're not paying on your mortgage. People below 10% either make below a living wage, or they spend everything they make on stuff,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And they have no debt. If you have debt, it's likely that your power percentage is above 10%.
Right.
Okay. 11 to 20%, it's okay. The goal is to constantly move it up, by the way,
Okay.
as if that's not already clear. So 11 to 20 is okay. 21 to 34 is solid. All right.
Which means that you're effectively reducing your debt. Is that what we're looking at here?
You're building your net worth.
Your power to build your net worth.
Yeah, because again, whether you have debts or not,
Right.
if you have a high power percentage, it means your net worth is building.
Okay.
So 21 to 34 is solid. 35 and above is perfect.
Okay.
Okay. The goal is over the course of your career to increase by 1% per year. Once you
Okay.
establish what your power percentage is, from now until the day you retire, is to increase it by 1% a year. Because when you use your income so efficiently, that means eventually you don't actually need your income because you used it so efficiently. Let's say your power percentage is 35%, Mark. That means that 35% is either A, being saved, or B, paying down debt. Which means if you stopped doing those things, you'd only need 65% of your income.
Okay.
Well, if you have a high power percentage for long enough, you're not going to have any debt. You're just going to be saving money. And so therefore, you break your dependency on your income in retirement, because then you're like, well, I've had a power percentage of 35 for 30 years. I have no debt. I got plenty of money, and I only live on 65% of my income.
Okay.
That's smart.
It is smart.
So good. So do your power percentage in 2017. Establish it today. If you want to learn more about power percentage, listen to episode 120 of the $1 Million Plan. You can find that at PeteThePlanner.com or iTunes or Tinder. No, that's not it.
Oh,
What is
wow.
it?
I don't think
Stitcher. Stitcher.
Don't think it's on Tinder.
It's not on Tinder. Okay, so power percentage. Okay. I didn't say grinder. So then there is net worth too. Is the other big measure here?
Right.
So at the beginning of January 1st of a new year, just take your assets, subtract off your debts, and then there you go. You got your net worth. That's your net worth. It's supposed to go up. If it goes backwards, bad year. So here's a good question for you.
All right.
As you sit and evaluate financially what 2016 was for you, I'm not going to get too personal. Just think about this for a second. How do you evaluate whether it was good or bad? Is it a feeling? Are there numbers involved? Are you level-headed about evaluating it? Because I think too often, depending on what side of the aisle you're on politically and all sorts of other things, the end of 16 was not great. It had this weird feeling. People, actually both people on both sides of the aisle feel that way to some degree, or some people feel great. But let's say you're so excited about the direction of the country, and so I say, how was your year? And you say, it was fantastic. But then we look at the numbers and it's hot garbage.
Right.
Right? So that's why you actually need metrics to evaluate how you think you did over a long period of time, because a feeling
is a lie a lot of times.
Totally a lie. So when you look at 2016 for you and Mrs. Kinetik, is there a one measure that you look at, or how do you do it? Or have you thought about it?
I mean, to be honest, no, there's no one measure. I mean, I don't even really think about it like that. I'm just as guilty as everybody else of just evaluating it based off of, well, it felt like it was okay.
Yeah.
Or I remember a couple things happened and, but we did okay. That's pretty much what we do, actually.
So I think what would be a good thing for everybody, because I know I do it, is to do your power percentage. And because if you do that, not only will it make your net worth go higher, but it gives you a really objective way to look at the year. Because let's say
I'm a fan of.
You have a bad March, or you have a bad September, or a great July. You can't have the feelings overtake reality.
Right.
A lot of people say, well, I don't care about money because this or that. It's usually people in a tough situation that want to feel better about their situation. And I feel like the way to feel better about that is to have the metrics to support progress.
Yeah.
As opposed to giving up, capitulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's been times in my life where finances weren't great, and I just remember not caring about money is the problem. The goal is to not care about stuff.
Right.
You got to care about money.
You got to care about your resources.
You can't care about stuff, though.
Right.
People love stuff.
We do. Love it.
I mean, look, I like stuff.
I like stuff. Was just talking about stuff.
I love stuff. Anyway, Star Wars films.
Yep.
Stuff. All right.
Han shot first, man.
Han shot first. Coming back after the break. Biggest waste of money of the week, and we'll put a tiny little bow on this fresh start episode of the $1 Million Plan podcast and radio show. I'm Pete the Planner, in with Marc Williams, Mr. Kinetik.
Yeah.
And this is the $1 Million Plan.
Every day living through the peace of my soul, I remain whole, even in the middle of the pain. Even though my life has the rain, I still remain sane, writing and creating for my life. And my pen is my sword given by the Lord, and I use it to fight the tides of restriction. Sometimes I'm conflicted by myself, looking at the trees too much and can't see the forest. Enemy shall inherit the earth, and I want to inherit something other than the high blood pressure and diabetes. So work is what I gotta do. Stay true to my enemy and water the trees that I sing from, and look out for the lumberjacks. Running with the gale force wind at my back. Swift and enduring, I remain calm. Swift and enduring, I remain calm. Swift and enduring, I remain calm.
All right, final segment of $1 Million Plan. Pete the Planner here. If you want to learn more about what we do, go to PeteThePlanner.com. Currently, we've got the Commissioner program for the entire year of 2017. If you are on a variable income, if you have a commission income, if you're a freelancer, if you're a server, a waiter, waitress, I don't know what to call people. If you have a variable income, you don't know what's coming in, and that is hard on you, because I know it's hard on you. We have a program specifically for you for 2017. So go to PeteThePlanner.com, go to the store or the shop or whatever they call it. The Dollar General. I think that's copyrighted. Marc Williams joining me. Marc, here's this week's biggest waste of money of the week. I'm going to read a product to you going to tell you the cost, and you and I get to collectively decide whether or not it's a waste of money.
All right.
It's called the Ancho Reyes Verde Poblano Liqueur. The team at Ancho Reyes have done it again with Ancho Reyes Verde Poblano Liqueur. This limited edition release is sure to be a favorite amongst bartenders and is a great companion in cocktails and blended with other spirits like tequila and mezcal. Made using hand-picked poblanos, each bottle of Verde employs flavors of tomatoes, pineapple, mirabelles, fresh ginger, green tea, and just enough spicy notes to perk up any mixed drink. It's $36 for a bottle of Poblano liqueur. Mark, is this a big waste of money, or does this sound interesting?
At $36, it's not that bad of a waste. I mean, it's going to last a while, right?
That's the thing.
It sounds gross, but it doesn't seem like a waste.
I would want to try it at a bar, so that way you can just buy a drink. Who knows if you're going to use that? It sounds interesting. Have you ever had a jalapeno margarita?
No.
Oh, they're good.
No.
Yes, dude.
I don't want spice in my drink.
What are you you love spicy food.
But not in my drink, though. I don't want it to feel hot.
That's the miracle of it. It's icy. It's on ice, and then you pour it in your face, and you're like, give me something to drink. And then you drink it again, and you're like, oh, that didn't help.
And you do that for a half hour.
I got to stay entertained, man. I got stuff to do. All right, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
You know, fresh starts, new year, Mr.
Power
Kinetik.
percentages. Yeah.
Power percentage. Do it. Learn more. Episode 120, $1 Million Plan. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to Marc. Check out his podcast. But he speaks so well.
Yeah,
that's what we're calling it. That's perfect, by the way. We haven't talked about it, but that's perfect. Go to Long's Donut. Don't talk. Don't ask questions. Only pay in cash, and keep the line moving. Reminding you, as always, sending you good vibes, because good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is $1 Million Plan.
If you want to be on this podcast and have Pete fix your money right, then hit us up at PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. You heard me. PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. Log on.
This is for information purposes only. It's not the Swiss financial planning device. Consult a financial advisor.
Released from Everest, the fresh is fresh, and you can call me E.T. Word to John Tesh. Let me bless this harmonic presentation. It's amazing, so amazing. I'm the reason. Salutations, I bring you love, trying greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Love Tron can restore your health. I bring you greetings. Salutations, how you doing? And is that how y'all say it? The tinkling of the keys is an homage to the little star. I sojourn over poetic descriptions of sound and travel to my other world. Out of this world, spaceship on my arm took me home, fueled by the ink and the megabytes and the hypertext transfer protocol, stronger than the Skynet and the Terminator. I push faders into warp speed, glide with ease, creating a breeze they call a black hole. Event horizon, no rear view concerns. This I adjourn, in beats I burn. This I adjourn, in beats I burn. Salutations, I bring you love, trying greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Love Tron can restore your health. I bring you greetings. Salutations, how you doing? And is that how y'all say it?